Hello, my YouTube friends. I haven't done a Talking Heads video in quite some time. If you were hoping for a cats video or a gaming session, or even a review of shows that I've been watching, this is not that video. What compelled me to make this video is that recently I was talking with some viewers, and YouTube doesn't tell me the sex or the age of the person that is chatting in the chat box or chat window. And as you may or may not know, I like multiple genres, whether that be sci-fi, fantasy, or anime. And I was asking the viewers for suggestions for a mature anime series that I can watch. And oh boy, did I open up a can of worms. So before we get into the subject, may I please ask you all to please like, share, and subscribe. It would really help out my little channel. Okay, that's it for that. Sorry to have to do these kinds of things, but that's how YouTube works. So here on the side, you can see that this is basically my viewers' demographic. 40% female, 60% male. And here is where we get to my subject of the day, is look at the ages of my viewers. It basically goes from 18 to 65-year-old with no clear winners. So, although my content appears to appeal to adult viewers, just asking the question, what would be a mature anime for me, is not an easy thing to answer. So let's get into the juicy part of it. For most people, when you say something mature or something for adults, they go by the default rating system, which is 18 plus. Whereas here you have an example of this program contains mature subject matter, sexuality, nudity, and coarse language. Now, I'm not going to get into the debate whether it should or should not be. I mean, I have viewers that are like 16, 17, and they're like, well, we're almost adult. But the reason why I want to do this video is because I want to know, you the viewers, how do you interpret the mature subject matter when you're asking people, well, I'm looking for something a little bit more mature to watch. What do you mean by that? Like one of my viewers suggested High School DxD. Already there, the person has not listened to what I am saying. I am looking for an adult, a more mature subject, a more mature plot, something that has me have to think of, some introspection about what the show is about, trying to figure out what is going on. Give me a more, I would say, complicated plot line. High School DxD is basically a high school scene with teenagers and some nudity. And that's not what I was referring to when I was asking for something more mature. Going to high school or in a high school setting is not what I considered a mature subject when I'm asking for a more mature anime to watch. And that I'm speaking here specifically about anime because that's what I was saying in my live stream, but it could refer to any movie, show, or whatnot. I can give a couple of examples, like Game of Thrones is not, the plot line is all over the place in a good way where the story evolves and changes over time. The characters that you follow pop in and out of the story. They have very adult scenes, interactions with amongst each other. The dialogue is nuanced. So, okay, there's nudity here and there's fantasy there, but the subject and the storytelling. Another example could be Conan the Barbarian. where the soundtrack and the storytelling was amazing, and there was a couple of scenes of nudity and sexuality, but it kind of fit. Another example I could talk or discuss about. I know nowadays not many people are smokers, but I am. And growing up in shows like The X-Files, you had this main bad villain who was always lighting up a cigarette. We don't see that on screen anymore. Even in the anime, it's something that you would see in the 80s, but starting in the 90s, it kind of completely disappeared from the screen. And to me, it brings a certain realism, a certain shade of gray to the storytelling when you have these kinds of events on screen. So, what is mature subject matter? What is adult content? It's like we almost need a different rating system, something more than the 18 plus or rated M for mature. Series like Gundam that are about big robots and they are teenagers, mainly as the main characters, but they deal with their superiors, they deal with the adults, they deal with the captains, the generals, the ministers, the leaders, the presidents, the queens, the kings, and all that stuff. And it's all about war, and there's never a clear winner because people have suffered losses on both sides. I like that it's a shade of gray storytelling. So even if it kind of feels like it's made for kids, there are subjects that are mentioned, children's soldiers, all kinds of stuff that can be told in a story that are not necessarily for young people, even though there's elements that appeal to the younger generation. I feel like we need a new label for people that are maybe in their 30s to 50s, kind of wanting something more realistic. Like you can have your storytelling, you can have the drama, you can have the really high stakes, you can have the dialogue and the interactions between. It all breaks down to good storytelling. And if a scene asks for nudity, if it fits the scene, then okay, let's go for it. Depending on what kind of story you're telling. But if it's just fan service, then it's not necessarily mature. It's a very hard subject to get into or try to explain. And that's kind of the reason why I wanted to make this video, is because I kind of want to know what people think. And I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I'm open to make some more videos on this subject. Even YouTube, it's going to be it might be controversial. It might be a no taboo subject to discuss. Like, I'm all for the age limits and what you expose to kids or young children and all that. But just because there's blood and nudity and gore and all these things, if the story is written and meant for an 11-year-old, it's not what I consider mature subject matter. Or when I'm asking for a show that appeals to a more mature audience, please give me a very shades of gray, complicated, but not too complicated story to follow. Good storytelling. Anyways, please let me know in the comments down below what you think. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. It would really help out my little channel. And hopefully, I see you in the next video. Bye for now.